Hey everybody, welcome to House Connell. Sorry to keep you waiting. Welcome to BB and Bobina's Book Nook. Hey guys, so I had laid down the last chapter in the Pulitzer Prize winning novel To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. And I have to redo it, which I don't mind redoing it because it was such a great book. And I'll remind everyone again, I have a unique advantage as I have read it many times. So let me go back into the bedroom because I left it in there. So I'll come back. But in the same time, I'm going to run a TikTok live as I'm doing the final reading for To Kill a Mockingbird. Don't forget, we are also in the Killing series by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. That's Killing Jesus on Friday, A History. Then on Saturday, Killing Kennedy, The End of Camelot. Then on Sunday, Killing Lincoln, the shocking assassination that changed America forever. All right, guys, give me a moment. I'm going to mute out. I'm going to get the TikTok going and let's see what happens. I do plan to get this more scheduled out. I was just hoping to be able to collab with some people, but it just seems people are on their own agendas, and I respect that, right? I just ask everyone that if you have a community that's lifting you up, and especially if you say you're going to partner with someone, and you go through the whole StreamYard meeting face to face, if you decide you don't want to work with them any longer, meet them on StreamYard, give them a phone call. Don't do it through text. That's like the most cowardly way to tell someone that you don't want to work with them anymore. And I'll come to the table with anyone and I won't change my decision on what I'm saying right now. It's unprofessional, it's disrespectful. And you guys, please, if you're going to end something, at least have the courage to call the person or talk to them. Now, if they won't respond to you, well, then you don't even need to call them because things have ended on their side. Anyway, I say all that to say this. You guys, please, if we're going to come together, if someone's doing a podcast and they're saying, oh, we all need to come together, yet, they're, I don't even know what to say about this. It makes no sense. My actions have to match my words. And if they don't, please let me know and hold me accountable. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Hey everybody, sorry about that. I was trying to go TikTok live, but uh they are doxing me and making sure that my age is appropriate. Whatever. All right, guys. What a day. All right, so we are going to finish out the Pulitzer Prize winning novel by the author Harper Lee. I'm so excited about this. I did lay it down, I think yesterday or the day before, and I realized that I did not have my microphone. I had it muted out. So I don't mind doing it again. Like I said, I've read this book before. So without further ado, let's get it all done because I like to, stay within time parameters. And I figured out just going live on YouTube, it records it. So eventually, though, I probably will use StreamYard as I want to upload on more than one platform. And I know that there's so many other great apps and stuff like that out there. So, anyway, again, without further ado, welcome on in. I'm trying to figure out this laptop here. I think that will work. Go back up. There we go. Okay. All right, guys. So let's get back into it in honor of the great Officer Tatum and his good queen, Corinne Tatum. So we are in chapter 31, which is the final chapter in this book, To Kill a Mockingbird. So without further ado, let's get it on done. And then I'll end this live. And I guess if I get TikTok live capability, then that's great. I probably could have went X live too, but I'll get it all figured out. I do have a schedule. Let me go ahead and give you the schedule. So the schedule is on Fridays. We release the killing on the weekends. We release the killing series. So on Friday, it's Killing Jesus by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard, which is this book right here. Okay. Then on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Sorry, I'm rough on books, Mr. O'Reilly and Mr. Martin Dugard. You'll have to forgive me. So on Saturday, it is Killing Kennedy, The End of Camelot. And then on Sunday, we have Killing Lincoln, the shocking assassination that changed America forever. And in each one, I think I'll leave Kennedy out because we do have to do chapter 12 of Kennedy, and it's a chunk of a chapter. So again, I try to keep it around 30 minutes. All right, guys, without further ado, let's get on into it. I've got so many notebooks around here. All right, guys. So, chapter 31, To Kill a Mockingbird, the Pulitzer Prize winning novel by Harper Lee. Excuse me for one moment while I yell at my child. Sorry, guys. Let's get back to it. All right, let's get back to Macomb County. Let's see what happens at the end of this story. Sorry, guys. Let's get back to it. Okay, so we are in chapter 31. We are back in Macomb County. I think I got some sticky on my microphone. I love these headphones, by the way. They are the best. I haven't put a sticker on this side yet, but I'm going to. And my nickname growing up was Gina, so that's what the G is for. Anyway, so let's get back to it. My name is Regina Connell. Welcome to House Connell. Let's get back to Macomb County. To Kill a Mockingbird, a novel by Harper Lee. Chapter 31. When Boo Radley shuffled to his feet, light from the living room windows glistened on his forehead. Every move he made was uncertain, as if he were not sure his hands and feet could make proper contact with the things he touched. He coughed his dreadful railing cough, and was so shaken he had to sit down again. His hands searched for his hip pocket, and he pulled out a handkerchief. He coughed into it. Then he wiped his forehead. Having been so accustomed to his absence, I found it incredible that he had been sitting beside me all this time. He had not made a sound. Once more he got to his feet. He turned to me and nodded toward the front door. "You'd like to say good night to Jim, wouldn't you, Mr. Arthur? Come right in." I led him down the hall. Aunt Alexandra was sitting by Jim's bed. "Come in, Arthur," she said. "He's still asleep. Dr. Reynolds gave him a heavy sedative." "Jane Louise, is your father in the living room?" "Yes, ma'am, I think so." "I'll just go speak to him a minute." Dr. Reynolds left some. Her voice trailed away. Boo had drifted to a corner of the room where he stood with his chin up, peering from a distance at Jim. I took him by the hand, a hand surprisingly warm for its whiteness. I tugged him a little, and he allowed me to lead him to Jim's bed. Dr. Reynolds had made a tent like arrangement over Jim's arm to keep the cover off, I guess, and Boo leaned forward and looked over it. An expression of timid curiosity was on his face, as though he had never seen a boy before. His mouth was slightly open, and he looked at Jim from head to foot. Boo's hand came up, but he let it drop to his side. "You can pet him, Mr. Arthur. He's asleep. You couldn't if he was awake. He wouldn't let you." I found myself explaining. "Go ahead." Boo's hand hovered over Jim's head. "Go on, sir. He's asleep." His hand came down lightly on Jim's hair. I was beginning to learn his body English. His hand tightened on mine, and he indicated that he wanted to leave. I led him o- I led him to the front porch, where his uneasy steps halted. He was still holding my hand and gave no sign of letting me go. "Will you take me home?" He almost whispered it in the voice of a child afraid of the dark. I put my foot on the top step and stopped. I would lead him through our house, but I would never lead him home. "Mr. Arthur, bend your arm down here, like that." "That's right, sir." I slipped my hand into the crook of his arm. He had to stoop a little to accommodate me, but if Miss Stephanie Crawford was watching from her upstairs window, she would see Arthur Radley escorting me down the sidewalk as any gentleman would do. We came to the street light on the corner, and I wondered how many times Deal had stood there hugging the fat pole, watching, waiting, hoping. I wondered, but I but sorry guys. I wondered how many times Jim and I had made this journey, but I entered the Radley front gate for the second time in my life. Boo and I walked up the steps to the porch. His fingers found the front doorknob. He gently released my hand, opened the door, went inside, and shut the door behind him. I never saw him again. Neighbors bring food with death and flowers, with sickness and little things in between. Boo was our neighbor. He gave us two soap dolls, a broken watch and chain, a pair of good luck pennies, and and our lives. But neighbors give in return. We never put back into the tree what we took out of it. We had given him nothing, and it made me sad. I turned to go home. Street lights winked down the street all the way to town. I had never seen our neighborhood from this angle. There were Miss Maudie's, Miss Stephanie's. There was our house. I could see the porch swing. Miss Rachel's house was beyond us, plainly visible. I could even see Mrs. DuBose's. I looked behind me. To the left of the brown door was a long shuttered window. I walked to it, stood in front of it, and turned around. In daylight, I thought you could see to the post office corner. Daylight. In my mind, the night faded. It was daytime, and the neighborhood was busy. Miss Stephanie Crawford crossed the street to tell the latest to Miss Rachel. Miss Maudie bent over her azaleas. It was summertime, and two children scampered down the sidewalk toward a man approaching in the distance. The man waved, and the children raced each other to him. It was still summertime, and the children came closer. A boy trudged down the sidewalk dragging a fishing pole behind him. A man stood waiting with his hands on his hips. Summertime. And his children played in the front yard with their friend, enacting a strange little drama of their own invention. Some of my It was fall, and his children fought on the sidewalk in front of Mrs. DuBose's. The boy helped his sister to her feet, and they made their way home. Fall, and his children trotted to and fro around the corner, the day's woes and triumphs on their faces. They stopped at an oak tree, delighted, puzzled, apprehensive. Winter, and his children shivered at the front gate, silhouetted against a blazing house. Winter, and a man walked into the street, dropping his glasses, and shot a dog. Summer, and he watched his children's heart break. Autumn again, and Boo's children needed him. Atticus was right. One time he said you never really know a man until you stand in his shoes and walk around in them. Just standing on the Radley porch was enough. The street lights were fuzzy from the fine rain that was falling. As I made my way home, I felt very old. But when I looked at the top of my nose, I could see fine misty beads. But looking cross eyed made me dizzy, so I quit. As I made my way home, I thought, what a thing to tell Jim tomorrow. He'd be so mad he missed it, he wouldn't speak to me for days. As I made my way home, I thought Jim and I would get grown, but there wasn't much else left for us to learn except possibly algebra. I ran up the steps and into the house. Aunt Alexandra had gone to bed, and Atticus's room was dark. I would see if Jim might be reviving. Atticus was in Jim's room, sitting by his bed. He was reading a book. Is Jim awake? Sleeping peacefully. He won't be awake till morning. Oh, are you sitting up with him? Just for an hour or so. Go to bed, Scout. You've had a long day. Well, I think I'll stay with you for a while. Suit yourself, said Atticus. It must have been after midnight, and I was puzzled by his amiable acquiescence. He was shrewder than I, however. The moment I sat down, I began to feel sleepy. What you reading? I asked. Atticus turned the book over. Something of Jim's, called The Gray Ghost. I was suddenly awake. Why'd you get that one? Honey, I don't know. I just picked it up. Honey, I don't know. Just picked it up. One of the few things I haven't read, he said pointedly. Read it out loud, please, Atticus. It's real scary. No, he said, you've had enough scary for a while. No, he said, you've had enough scaring for a while. This is too. Atticus, I wasn't scared. He raised his eyebrows, and I protested. Leastways, not till I started telling Mr. Tate about it. Jim wasn't scared. Asked him, and he said he wasn't. Besides, nothing's real scary except in books. Atticus opened his mouth to say something, but shut it again. He took his thumb from the middle of the book and turned back to the front page. I moved over and leaned my head against his knee. He said, The Gray Ghost by Secretary Hawkins, Chapter 1. I willed myself to stay awake, but the rain was so soft and the room was so warm and his voice was so deep and his knee was so snug that I slept. Seconds later, it seemed, his shoe was gently nudging my ribs. He lifted me to my feet and walked me to my room. Heard every word you said, I muttered. Wasn't sleep at all. It's about a ship and three-fingered Fred and Stoner's boy. He unhooked my overalls, leaned me against him, and pulled them off. He held me up with one hand and reached for my pajamas with the other. Yeah, and they all thought it was Stoner Boy. Yeah, and they all thought it was Stoner's boy messing up their clubhouse and throwing ink all over it. And he guided me to the bed and sat me down. He lifted my legs and put me under the cover. And they chased him and never could catch him 'cause they didn't know what he looked like. And Atticus, when they finally saw him, why, he hadn't done any of those things. Atticus, he was real nice. His hands were under my chin, pulling up the cover, tucking it around me. Most people are, Scout, when you finally see them. He turned out the light and went into Jim's room. He would be there all night, and he would be there when Jim waked up in the morning. You guys, thank you. We have finished another book, another book. So the first one we finished was Our Job Journey, the book of Job in the Christian Holy Bible. We read out of the King James Version, but mainly from the Holman Rainbow Study NIV edition Bible that you see right behind me. You guys, thank you for joining me. This has been exciting. So remember, this streams right here on YouTube and also YouTube Music. I am working some things out. We're considering StreamYard, but right now it's just my good Lord King husband and myself. So I'm trying to be responsible with our finances as he's the only one working outside the home and bringing in monetary funds. Anyway, I thank you for joining me. If you like all this, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I did hear a content creator say one time that you don't even have to watch another video. Just hit that subscribe. And the views are really what counts. So, the subscribership is good because I think it helps you get into the index. I'm still testing a lot of stuff out, but it's kind of hard to make a determination when, other people, don't have the time to look at the same things or you can't seem to find the people that are looking at the same things as you. But it's okay. I know it's like dropping a bucket in the sea, but we will all come together. You guys stay strong. Thank you for joining me. Be blessed. See you next time here on BBN Bobina's Book Nook. Don't forget the next chapter I'm going to be, well, the next thing I'll be laying down is I got to get chapter 12 of Killing Kennedy down, the end of Camelot. And like I said, it's a chunk of a chapter. So I'm probably going to take about a little bit of a break. But like I said, I am going to get more scheduled. So let me run down the schedule one last time for you. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, we release out To Kill a Mockingbird, a novel by Harper Lee. Then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can join us for BBB, Queen Regina's Biblical Bible Beginnings, where we are wrapping up our Job journey. So we are going through the entire book of Job, scripture by scripture, word by word, even punctuation, all of it. And we're pulling from two different translations. Also, I don't think yeah. So Fridays is Killing Jesus, a history by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. Then Saturday is Killing Kennedy. Um, the End of Camelot by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. Then finally on Sunday is Killing Lincoln by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. So now that we have finished To Kill a Mockingbird Monday and Wednesday, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and start The Son of Hamas. Now, I have already read it once, so I can't wait to go back through it. It's an amazing story, and he's actually updated since I got this book, so there's a new chapter added. I want to thank Dr. Phil, Candace Owens, every one of you that has given this gentleman a voice, everyone that was involved in this gentleman's life and giving him an opportunity when he was stuck between so many worlds. Musab Hassan Youssef, House Connell stands with you, and we thank you for everything that you are doing. Be blessed, sir. Oh, it's good to see Nasdaq's up a little bit. Anyway, so my hope is that we'll go ahead and start this. I'll get a definitive schedule out because I'm still going to truck forward. And then, I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Be blessed, and we'll see you on the flip flop.